So let's talk about this light because this light you may have seen before. I'm going to talk about a couple of customers who've seen this light. Now, this light can come up in two colors. One, it can be red, which is bad, and another is yellow, not too bad. Okay, let's talk about the light, and then I'll tell you a couple situations where customers have seen this light and what was the problem. So if this lights up in red, we got an engine malfunction. Okay, and how do you respond to that? Okay, you got to stop the car, switch off the engine. You cannot continue your journey. Contact your service provider. So if you see this and it's red, bad, can't drive your car. Now, a lot of times what happens with customers is they'll see this, but it's yellow. And what happens when it's yellow is full engine power is no longer available. And that kind of pisses them off because especially if you have the turbo, that means that you don't have that turbo power anymore, right? And how to respond, you can continue your journey, but with moderate speed and exercise due caution. Have your engine checked as soon as possible. So I had this one customer, this light came up, and what was going on was his turbo, okay, his wastegate. So the wastegate wasn't closing all the way, and the computer was detecting that the pressures were off. You're accelerating, but we don't get the full boost. So he kept getting this light. He told me he took it to like 3 mechanics. They couldn't figure it out. Finally took to Mini Cooper Service Center, and I was able to, basically put a borescope and looked at his wastegate and figured out that, hey, it wasn't closing properly. And what happened was we ended up getting the customer a new turbo. I told him he chose a turbo from AutoZone. I think that had like a 3 or 5 year warranty. So he went to AutoZone. He picked up the turbo. I think it was like $895. I got that turbo put in, and that fixed his problem. Very, very happy. Another customer had brought his car in, and he was getting this, and he was kind of frustrating because, again, both cases, they were yellow, right? So he was kind of frustrated because whenever he drove, it came up yellow. He lost his turbo. So that was pretty frustrating to him. And what happened was with him was a year ago, he got his timing chain replaced. And I guess over time, I'm assuming that they didn't torque the timing chain correctly. They didn't torque the timing chain correctly either for the cam, because the camshafts, they were off. They were off real big. And as a result, every time he started the car up or went for a ride, the car was stalling. And after I, corrected, the stalling would actually when the car wouldn't actually stall anymore, this light was still coming up. It ended up being his timing chain. I had to just readjust the timing. Got some new bolts for his camshaft and crankshaft. Reset the time and torque the bolts to the correct torque and the angles, and everything cleared up. So the moral of this story is you can't let anybody work on your Mini Cooper, guys. You can't let anyone work on their Mini Cooper. Make sure they got the correct tools to work on their Mini Cooper, and make sure they're following the proper torque specs for those critical bolts. But that's what this light means. Again, if it's red, you can no longer drive the car. You have to pull over. If it's yellow, that means that full engine power is no longer available. You can continue driving your car, but exercise caution and drive at a moderate speed.